And our first main topic today comes to us from one of our Patreon supporters, Ian Barth. Thank you so much for being a Patreon supporter, Ian. Anyway, hey, John. So the Disney acquisition is complete, and I've started thinking about release dates. Avatar 2 is slated for release on the 18th of December, 2020. Given the release date pattern of recent Star Wars films, Disney may have been eyeing that date for a Star Wars movie. Do you think that Avatar 2 will be pushed back again, or do you think that Star Wars will find a different date? Or will we not get another Star Wars movie next year? Thanks, and stay filthy. Well, it is an intriguing question because it's one thing for Fox to put Avatar on that date, but now that Fox is owned by Disney and Disney's going to be in control of it, what happens to that? It's a date that they have traditionally, at least recently, been using for Star Wars releases. Let's start with this, though. There is no film or franchise in the world that you put in front of Star Wars if Star Wars has a date. You don't put a DC movie on it. You don't put a James Bond movie on it. You don't even put a Marvel film on it. You don't put a Matt Damon franchise. You don't put anything out there, except for maybe one thing, and that's Avatar. Because while Star Wars is in the $2 billion club, and while they've whatever the history, decades long, blah blah blah, fact of the matter is, there is a #1 box office film of all time. And it ain't a Star Wars film, and it ain't a Marvel film, and it ain't a DC film. It's Avatar. By a mile. Like, it's not even close. Not remotely close. Like, you look at this chart here, and between, like, the number 5 and the number 2 film, there's only a $500 million... Look at this. Look at that. From the number 5 film of all time, which is Jurassic World, at $1.6 billion, all the way up to the number 2, only $500 million separates number 2 from number 5. It's close. So at number 5, you got Jurassic World. At number 4, you got Avengers Infinity War. At number 3, you have Star Wars The Force Awakens. And at number 2, you got Titanic, which is also a James Cameron film. And then you go to the number 1 film with $600 million separating number 2 from 1. There is a bigger gap between 1 and 2 than there is between 2 and 5. So if there's any film out there that you will give preferential treatment to as far as dating goes over a Star Wars film or a Marvel film or whatever, that film's going to be Avatar. It's going to be the Avatar. I mean, the numbers just speak for themselves. It is what it is. So you have kind of that. Now, it does bring up an interesting secondary question, though, Rob. In the question of will they bump Avatar 2 for Star Wars, I say you don't do that. And I don't think Disney does that. They recognize what they have. These are two giant heavyweights, but Avatar is the #1 film of all time. You got to give it its respect and let it keep that date. But that brings up a secondary question, Rob. I don't think it looks like Star Wars was aiming to have a film in December of 2020 anyway. I think we absolutely would have heard about it by now. Now, who knows? We do have Star Wars Celebration coming up in a couple of weeks here in Chicago. They may announce a Star Wars film. It's certainly not too late to announce a Star Wars film for December 2020. They can certainly do that. But I, #1, don't think you move Avatar for Star Wars. And #2, I don't think there was going to be a Star Wars film on that date anyway. And those two questions, Robert, do you move Avatar for Star Wars? And will there be a Star Wars movie? How do you address that?
I think you're right on both counts. We haven't heard anything about a Star Wars movie. And even if they announce one at Star Wars Celebration, I think we're getting episode 9 and we're getting The Mandalorian. We're essentially getting 10 hours or whatever it is, 10 hours, 8 hours of new Star Wars that's going to launch Disney Plus. I mean, 2020 is all going to be about the launch of Disney Plus. It's all going to be about The Mandalorian. We're getting something we've never had before, a live action Star Wars film. I mean, a live action Star Wars series, right on the heels of episode 9. So I think the end of this year, the end of 2019 and going into 2020, Disney is going to be rolling out Disney Plus. That's going to be their big, as far as Star Wars is concerned, 10 hours or 8 hours of Star Wars. That's incredible. That's more Star Wars than we've ever got over the course of years. We've never got that much unless you include animation. But I think, and Avatar 2, the second coming of Avatar, people, look, I'm a huge Avatar fan. I am like, oh, it's not Fern Gully in space to me. I loved it. I loved Avatar. I think it's an incredible vision, and seeing it in IMAX 3D was an astonishing experience. And everybody always poo-poos James Cameron. They couldn't make Terminator 2 in a year. Oh no, or 9 months. He did it. You know, he couldn't do a James Bond-like film with True Lies. Nope. He did it. Titanic, massive overruns. It's going to be a boondoggle. It's never going to make any money. Yeah, $2 billion, first movie. And then Avatar. No one's going to care. Yeah, they do. And so now I think we've learned. Disney certainly knows what they acquired. One of the things no one's talking about is they're like, we just got James Cameron's next 3 movies. I mean, that's something that Disney also, Bob Iger's, you know, he's probably up there. I haven't asked Bob about this. I should text him about it. You know, next 4. I mean, I'm sure Jimmy C and Bob I are hanging out, sharing a cigar and eating a nice vegan salad at some point, just smiling about how much money they're going to make. You know, they already have an Avatar theme park or a theme section at one of their wildlife parks in Florida. So Disney already has a team up with James Cameron and Avatar already. So it's a good fit. It makes sense to me.
So let me ask you this, though, Rob. Going to the first question, though, let's say before the Fox-Disney merger happened, blah, 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 you had Lucasfilm and say they were targeting a December 2020 release date for a Star Wars movie. But now they've got the acquisition. Avatar's on 2020. You're Bob Iger. Do you say, let them both open in 2020, lots of money to be made for everybody? Do you say, nope, we got to bump Avatar? Or do you say, nope, we got to bump Star Wars? Which one do you do? It's tough, right?
It's a tough one. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. You know, I just hark back to that heady Christmas time in 1979 when Star Trek: The Motion Picture opened within 2 weeks of Disney's The Black Hole. Okay, probably not a good example, but yeah, that's tough. I mean, look, I still think that it's going to be about Disney Plus. They've got The Mandalorian. They've already got the most unique Star Wars property coming out in what I assume is 2020. Why not just go with that and let Avatar be Avatar?
Yeah, I think I'd split the difference, to be honest with you. I think what I would probably do is say, you know what? December's a big month. Drop one in the first week of December, right, and drop the other in around the Christmas season.
Or drop it over Thanksgiving.
Or drop it over Thanksgiving. That I see. To me, Thanksgiving's in October because I'm Canadian. I'm still not really sure when you Americans have your. When's your Thanksgiving again?
End of November.
End of November. So,
usually the last week of November, and you know that's another season where you've got that everyone's out of school. You know, maybe you drop Avatar over the Thanksgiving season because after all, it's more of a Thanksgiving-y holiday. I mean, eventually we're going to get rid of Thanksgiving because, of course, we destroyed the indigenous people in this country. And maybe Avatar is a better choice. And then Star Wars, you know, the genocide against people, planetary populations like the good citizens of Alderaan can happen during the Christmas season. So we've got both things
Never
covered.
Forget Alderaan.